is up, Cabbage Crew? It is your boy Matt and your boy John. Two cabbages here to
Two round and
cabbages.
not funny cabbages.
um, Here to review episode 7, The North of Avatar. What did I call it the other day? Avatar, the Netflix series.
Netflix live action.
Yeah, Avatar, the Netflix series. This isn't Avatar the Last Airbender. Um,
Clearly.
So, something that we kind of talked about. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but we spoke about it just after the podcast. Is that they never really fixed the Heibai situation?
You mean off the record?
Off the record, yes. They never, as I'm fixing my light here, they never fixed. They never finished that situation, the Heibai situation,
Mm-hmm.
Which they really didn't. Like they never really brought Heibai back in this episode. I thought they'd at least mention something, but I guess Heibai's just. I guess Heibai was like a red herring. Like it was actually the whole time it was never Heibai,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that was for the audience to think it was Heibai. Okay. Okay.
That's an answer.
I mean, it's just odd that Heibai was even there then. Like okay. I guess there's this other monster that's walking around that's in their forest, you know. I guess that's just the place. And it's another thing I noticed is like they went to the spirit world and like every creature that we know of is just all within like 100 yards of each other. Like they all just kind of were like, it's like, oh, the owl, oh, this, like all the different creatures that we know
Yep.
of. Like there's, I think 3 or 4 creatures that we know of in Avatar that are like the spirit
Yep.
animals, and like they were
Mhm.
all in that episode. So anyway,
that was the past. That was
the past. Here we are in the present. Time, it's a funny thing.
Time is an illusion, and so is death.
So yeah, this episode starts off pretty quickly with by the way, this episode was very much just one episode of Avatar the Last Airbender.
Yeah.
You know, it was the Northern Water Tribe, I believe is what it's called, episode 18 of season 1.
Well, the Waterbending Master is what the first one is, and then Siege of the North.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. Yes,
Yeah.
the Waterbending Master. Yes, so this was very much the Waterbending Master. So that episode starts off with the semi-conflict between Zhao and Zuko eventually being told by Lee that Ozai knows that he essentially went against the Fire Nation, and it was all kind of just to get him into the boat so the blasting jelly would kill him, blow up and kill him. He avoids it. Very similar to what happened in the actual series.
How did in this one? I didn't catch it, but how did this one? How did the blasting jelly ignite? Because it kind of just did, from what I saw. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
There was nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're one episode away from the finale, people.
Again, it all kind of makes sense. Like he took his crew and then he blows up the ship that they're on the entire season, and Zuko escapes. So that's why they don't have a ship going into season 2, because they have a destroyed ship and no crew. But I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know. Who knows?
Can I just say real quick?
Yeah, of course.
That I think what I'm about to say just encompasses this entire series.
Okay.
So the ship captain's name is Lee. There's a million Lees. There's a million Lee from yeah. From
what was the point of this?
the point is that
did I miss the overall like message?
The point is that they're being bland.
Oh, okay. I got what you mean. I got the parallel now. Yeah. I mean,
anyway,
well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, the problem is they're not explaining certain things that again, Avatar is such a perfect show when they explain everything, or if they don't explain it, they will explain it. And here, it's either they're over explaining something, or they're just like, it doesn't make sense, but you know what? These are children watching this show; they
Mm-hmm.
won't care, And that's the kind of how I get it. It's like when you watch like SpongeBob, or you watch some of those, like it's like, oh, does it make sense? No, but who cares? It's fun. It's funny, and that's like kind of what they're doing. Like they have plot points they need to hit, and it's like because they're changing their story, it's like we have to hit this plot point. Does
Mm-hmm.
it make sense? Not really, but we have to hit that plot point, and we've now created a different story where we just have to kind of throw it in somehow, and that is very much what the show's been doing.
Right. I don't disagree, and that's obviously the wrong line of thinking to go
How to
into.
do it. Yeah.
But I actually had a question that relates to the plot.
Mm-hmm.
The in the cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
Zhao just gets a massive invasion force. Like, is it like he doesn't necessarily get the Fire Lord's approval, from what I understood? I
Yeah, but
didn't.
he's also, I mean, the way I looked at it is he was
Mhm.
admiral, so he
Sure.
was pretty high up to the point where if he wanted to get 30 ships, he could. And once, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at it too. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
do you think he? Do you think like Ozai is more of a hands off?
it seems
For
like it because you would think if he was hands on, once he found out the Avatar's back, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go get him.
mm-hmm.
Screw Zuko, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
go find this kid before he starts learning things. Um, I mean, that could be something I guess you can look at as a negative in the show, where it's like, well, why doesn't he just tell Zuko to go out there? Why? I mean, before, like, once they know about the Avatar, it's like, what are we doing with Zuko? Why is Zuko messing around? Like, we
Right.
need to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also say, yeah, maybe he was hands off. Maybe he figured if he goes out, he's vulnerable. It's like, okay, I go out there and I'm the most hated person in the world besides the Fire Nation.
No, I wasn't saying like him directly going out. I'm saying, like, do you think he was more hands off in terms of his military?
Mm,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah, okay,
Because
I got you.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's what I guess.
because like in this one, Zhao was like, Firelord Ozai told me to do this, and this
Hmm.
therefore I'm doing it. So
Right,
like
right.
that, I saw that as a difference from the
A difference.
cartoon.
Yeah,
Other, yeah.
yeah. So to get back to the blasting jelly scene and everything, I mean, that scene played out pretty much how it was in the show, and
That's fine.
a little bit different, but that's where it was. I mean, and then the conversation with Aang again, Aang talking about Zuko to the team, saying something along the lines of he's not as bad. He seemed like a normal guy. I just feel like the show did it a little bit more subtle. Like these are like this dialogue is very much just like, how am I feeling? Let me tell the audience.
Yep.
Again, bad writing. I hate to say the same thing every time, but it's just like a lot of bad writing, a lot of hand holding, a lot of like, let's tell the audience exactly how we are wanting them to think. Instead of
Right.
like, we didn't need Aang to say that to Katara.
Nope.
At that conversation that Katara or that Zuko and Aang had, you gather that, wow, this guy has more like, again, if you've never seen the show before, it's like, okay, this guy a little bit more complex. We see he's banished. We don't need Aang to tell the audience by telling Katara. Like, the group didn't even know he went and saved them until season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Aang kept that to himself. Aang kept
Yep.
the idea that Zuko went and saved him to himself in the
Yep.
show. So, um, I mean, do you have anything to add to that? I just kind of wrote that down because it was just in my
Oh,
opinion,
there's
a bad scene.
yeah, there's plenty of examples in this episode about things that didn't need to be said, or like even cringy moment. There's like a cringy moment or
Yeah.
two. That though I thought the episode flowed. Like I thought it went faster than most of the other ones did.
See, I actually disagree with that. I think well, because it is shorter than the other episodes by like a solid like 8 minutes.
That's probably why.
But also, I just felt this is the first time, because typically I'm the type of person where I'd rather have messy but fun than decent but boring. this was a boring episode in my opinion. I like found myself multiple times like not like I was literally like looking at my phone, talking to my dog. Like I was engaged half the time. Like he's talking to Kirk, and I'm like, I don't even care what's happening right now. And maybe it's because I'm tired of the show. It's like we're in episode 7. Let's get to the end. But like I like he was talking to Kirk, and I couldn't even tell you what that scene was about because I was just
You were talking to Kirk while you were talking to Kylo.
right, and it was just Kylo's my dog, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, it was just one of those. It's just this. Yeah, they did what I would like them to do more often, but not necessarily this episode, which was we're gonna pick up an episode and just expand on it, maybe add an extra, add more to it, whatever. That's why I wish this show was like 12 episodes, because then they just could take out like 2 or 3 episodes and they could have probably made it closer to the show. But this episode was like a 25-minute episode that they made into 40 minutes by doing boring things.
It's true.
Or things that just I didn't care about. And I guess when you don't care about a show that much, it works. I don't know what else to say.
The live action people, the live action, not the
Let's
original.
get to the actual episode. I feel like we haven't talked about the episode. So
we talked about blasting jelly.
So yeah, Blasted Jelly. So it is interesting how also Aang keeps referring back to that vision, where in the show it's about in the anime it's about the vision is about the comet.
Yep.
Not the water. And that's my thing. It's like if they knew they were again, I keep going back to it. It's like if they knew they were going to get if he gets there and they already know they're going to get attacked, then why did Aang need a vision? It's just another thing. Yeah. Aang needed to already go there because he needed to learn waterbending. Yeah. Aang gets there. It would have made sense if Aang was like, "There's going to be an attack," and they're like, "Oh no!" But they're like, "Oh, we already know." So it's like, well, why did Aang need to know the vision? Because Aang was already heading there. Aang was already going there when he learned about the vision. So what was the vision for?
And they learned about, and the soot stuff still happened. And I was like, there was no point for the soot anymore.
Well, the soot's a visual way for them being like, they're here without actually showing the boats. So I was okay with that. But it's like the vision had if you're going to make the vision had 2 purposes. One, it's the reason why they need to go to the North Pole. Well, that already was there because Aang needs to learn waterbending. Okay. But the second reason is to tell them that there's a war about to happen.
Yeah.
Cool. So now it's like, well, they're not getting, it would have been a little bit better if they were like actually ready for the war. Cool. Just like in the show. They took both of those away. So the vision was not needed at all. But anyway. And then there was a scene where like Katara was like, We've been waiting, traveling so long to get here. I'm like, it seems like it's been like 4 days. I'm like, it seems like you guys have gone to 2 cities and you've had 2 adventures. Like you went to Kyoshi, Omashu, and the Spirit World, and you're here. But like it seems like it's been about a week and a half. Like.
I'll just reiterate. I think they got the Northern Water Tribe pretty good in terms of visual. Like I think every place they've been to, the CGI looks good. Like it looks like it would have been like from the cartoon, and kudos to the visual effects team. Kudos to them.
Yeah, the budget makes sense.
The budget makes sense.
No, the visual effects look. I mean, the locations. I will say, maybe not the visual effects as much. The visual effects in the sense of the locations. Some of the fighting still hit or miss for me, to be honest. Some of the them flying on Appa. Appa looks good, but when they're flying on it looks kind of bad. But the locations, like when he was in the Fire Temple a couple episodes ago. Spirit World looks a little not right. It looks like they're on an acid trip, but the water, the air temples look good. The original water tribe looked good. The southern, every place has looked good. Yeah, so I give the show credit. You're right. I mean, they've done good with that.
One thing that I thought when they were in the spirit world and their spirits were leaving their bodies, I literally thought it was episode 6 of Star Wars where it was the ghosts of Yoda and Obi-Wan.
It looks even when Aang left the body, I was like, this looks a little weird.
Oh, so
bad. Man.
Anyway, back to this episode.
Yeah, back to this episode. So what you like? I'm a UA hater. What's your thoughts of UA?
mixed actually.
Okay.
I guess the one the one that I didn't like, there's several I didn't like, but
Several what?
like several
Things about UA?
yeah, several plot conveniences that they put into her character that I didn't
Start spilling, baby.
Well, she says no to Han, even though the Northern Water Tribe is very traditional, and she
Yeah, that was weird.
that would have never happened.
Yeah, it's weird how one tradition is like locked down, and then the other tradition's like, we have this fixed marriage. Nah, it's like okay, and then it's like,
and it's like, and Sokka's like, "What happened, Han?" And Han, first of all, Han's supposed to be like a douche.
A douche. He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
he was like, I respected her decision. I was like, why is he even here then? He's supposed to be this conflict for Zeus, supposed to be this conflict for Sokka, you know, in the episodes, like this love interest conflict, and she's upset because she has to marry him, and it's like he's just kind of this cool guy that Sokka's hanging out with, and he's like, yeah, I chose to marry her, or I was supposed to marry her, but she chose not to, and I'm okay with it. And it was like, what the hell are you here for? Again, it's like another change where it's like, what was the point then? Like, you literally could have just had kind of again like this asshole kid, and she didn't want to marry him. I mean, like the show sets it up so well. Like, it's not hard. The show does so well at setting things up. All you have to do is follow it. All you have to do is follow it. Choose a storyline, follow it, make it make sense, and make other storylines flow into it in a certain way, or not have them. You just have to pick and choose. Right. The show does literally every twist and turn. You're like, this is going to happen. They're like, we're going to change it on you because we want to change it for the audience. But then they make it 10 times worse.
Right.
June, because I still can't get over June being like, having a crush on Iroh. It's like, what?
Yeah, so like there's that, and then apparently Yue's a waterbender.
I must have missed that when I was not paying
she
attention.
like was mixing her bowl when Sokka goes in for her food. She moved her food with I'm pretty sure it's waterbending.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Well, how is she able to be a waterbender and Katara can't? Maybe you can be a waterbender, but just not a warrior. Like maybe you just like it's okay to be a waterbender if you're in that tribe. You just can't be
right, and that's where I kind of low key accepted that change, because in the cartoon, like we didn't know that if she was a bender or not, but it was highly implied that she wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, they're healers, they're benders, so there are waterbender females.
Right. If Yue ends up fighting, that's when I'm gonna be like not okay with it.
Anti-Yue.
I would not be okay with like that kind of change where like, oh, so sudden she suddenly bends.
She's a badass, yeah.
But I did like one aspect that I did like was her. I think her and Sokka's thing they got going on was done okay. Mm-hmm. They added some things from the original with like, you see, it has a fin. Like it was good.
And that's kind of like a couple episodes ago when Sokka was talking to that little girl and threw in a couple things. Mm-hmm. It's not rhymes with Akka, you know. It's like that's a fun throw in that the fans of the show can be like, cool, and like they didn't do it the same way, but it worked, and it's like that was a fun thing they added.
Right. And I think
and one thing I didn't like though that they added, you might like it, but I don't know if you will or not, but she was the fox. You didn't like that?
It was very subpar. Like it made sense for this Avatar series. I was like, oh, that's cool that like it was something from the past that like they're bringing into now. In terms of like it was an episode before, and then now they're bringing it to now. So like I was like, oh, that keeps the audience on their toes. But I didn't like how she can just go into the spirit world in her dreams.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Like it makes kind of sense, but like she didn't really know she was like the moon spirit until duty called.
Right. Well, she was like she had part of the moon in her, and
Yeah,
then when the moon spirit died, she became
right.
the moon spirit.
Exactly.
Where now it's like she has part of a spirit in her, so that makes her have spiritual powers that allow her to go into the spirit world when she wants.
Right.
And like I don't, I don't know. That's weird because it's like now she's kind of like the Avatar too, in the sense of like she has a spirit that lives in her, and she's allowed to, and she's the bridge. So it's
Right.
like that's odd. Um,
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
also it's just weird because it's like she went over and talked to Sokka, and like I don't know. I just feel like it would have made more sense if it was like she already knew Sokka, and but Sokka didn't know, like they knew each other already, and then she appeared as the fox instead of the ops. Because it's like, so you were just dreaming, you were this fox, and you saw Sokka, ran over to him, and told him information that he
It
needed
doesn't make
at
sense.
that
Yeah.
moment. It's like that's kind of an odd thing. It's
Hmm.
like it's like a video. It's almost like a video game thing. It's like here's this character that you don't know of yet. They don't even know who you are, but they're gonna
Right.
show up and give you information and then leave, and then you'll meet them later. It's like what? So that was just kind of odd, in my opinion.
I
Um,
agree.
like if it was somehow like if it was somehow Suki, because they've met, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not, but like that, you know. Or if
Yeah.
this was season two, like he was in the fog in season two and he was having issues, and she already knew him. She was the spirit, and then she came down and helped him. But whatever. Again, something else they added that didn't really make sense. Um,
How did you
and
like? How did you like Paku?
it was okay. I mean, it was okay. I keep going back to like all of these characters kind of remind me of not the characters. They remind me of someone dressing up going to Comic Con as the characters. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like in the worst way possible. Like
Hmm.
because I've seen people that have dressed up going to Comic Con, and I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. Like I've seen on Instagram. I'm like, there's people that I've not followed, but like I see when I'm scrolling and stuff, and it's like, someone dresses up as Azula, someone dresses up as
Hmm.
Sokka, and it's like, wow, they look good.
Hmm.
They look better than this.
Right.
It's like that's what I kind of looked when I saw him. I was like, he looks okay, but he's like, if a father and his daughter wanted to go to Comic Con, he dresses up as Paku, she dresses up as Katara. Like that's them. And it's like
Yeah.
I hate to say that, like none of them, like I really don't think any of them, even kind of Sokka, like none of them really are like that's them, but it is
No.
what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll go into this because everyone talks about how they're disappointed in Azula. And I'm like, to be honest, man, like this might be really against what everyone's saying. I think the actress who's playing Azula is probably doing one of the better jobs. She is. I mean,
She's gotten better,
it's
but
just not Azula. That's the problem.
what degree are you talking about better?
Yeah, I mean the problem is that it's just not Azula. Like she's
No.
playing a part that we are expecting Azula. She is
Right.
playing the part that the director is telling her to play because
Right.
she is playing the role of daughter who wants to show her father that she is the best and feels split and feels upset about it and is putting all her effort into it, but still not like almost she is literally what Zuko is
Right.
in the show. Like
Hmm.
Zuko is not mentioned one time getting his father's like getting his honor back. I feel like, but she is showing it nonstop, and she's playing the role good. And we'll talk about it later in the end of the episode what happens. But like, I don't. I mean, she again, she's just not Azula, but in my opinion, she's playing the role okay.
I will agree that over time she's become one of the better characters, but for me it's like what degree is better in this show. And so
Yeah.
like she's probably number 3 or 2, maybe.
Mhm.
Uh Still Sokka number 1, but um again, it's like what degree? It's like going from a D to a D plus. Like what's the difference?
Yeah. No, I mean, across the board, the acting and the writing has all been bad. It's just how bad are you?
Mm-hmm.
And our expectations are, and it was kind of like I was saying in the other episode. It's like all the episodes in Avatar are good. It's just how good are they? Because I would even make an argument. Episodes like The Great Divide, it's like there's still good themes in there. It's still well written. There's still good comedy in it. There's still pretty good action sequences in it. It's just not as good as all the other episodes because it's not as important, but it's still like a fun, like you can sit down and enjoy yourself.
Oh, easily.
And that's this. It's like the writing, none of it's good, but like there's certain scenes and certain characters that are tolerable. I think she's one of them. I think Sokka's one of them. I think, there's a couple characters that are. I think Iroh has become kind of one of them. Like it's gotten better. Aang, to me, every scene Aang's in, I'm just like, kid can't. I'm sorry, kid can't act. Dialogue's horrible. The way he talks, like just like.
And he's like, the Avatar can't the Avatar can't be with his friends because that's what Kyoshi, Roku, and Kuruk tell me. You and Sokka both are reasons why I cannot live up to my potential. Wah! I'm gonna go back.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like very one noted. The girl who plays Katara is kind of one noted. I've already seen a crap ton of memes, crapping on her, and I mean she, again, I hate to bash these 13-year-old kids, 14. Yeah. They're probably older than 13. They're probably like 16. But because the writing's atrocious, and it's like I can't handle them that much. But it's just
she's doing okay for what she's
doing. Okay for what she is. I will say the Sokka and Katara scene of them having their moment talking about Yue.
Yeah,
a decent scene. And then also jumping up a little bit, but the scene right before he's like, go fight Paku, that scene was pretty good too. Like I think Aang's the weakest link. Like when Katara and Sokka are having scenes together, they're decent.
Yeah.
Like the whole cave stuff a couple episodes ago, like it's all been kind of decent. It's just when they're with Aang, it kind of is not great.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit earlier, going to the Sokka and Yue relationship. The whole I'm just a girl, you're just a girl, you're just a boy kind of conversation. Like, how did you? I mean, you love Yue.
I don't love Yue. you have this misconception. And then remember, obviously, we have an episode about favorite like top 10 like side characters. Yue number 1.
Yeah, Yue. No, I mean, I wouldn't say you loved Yue, but I think she's like the weakest character in the series. But
sure.
What was your thoughts on? You talked about it a little bit earlier, but their relationship, those conversations they had, and really just Yue in general. Did you like her hair? I know we talked about this.
Actually, I did.
Did you like? I didn't like her hair.
You didn't?
I didn't fit the actress. Nothing against the actress.
I thought it did. I actually do like the actress. I thought they chose well with her. But
yeah, she actually acted pretty well. I'm just saying, like if you gave me a red wig, it would look weird. Nothing against me, nothing against the red wig. It's just like some people don't look good with white hair. Not even don't look good, but like just it didn't look natural. That's all.
Right. I mean, but obviously, here's the thing. It's like, would you rather have a better actress, but the hair doesn't look the best? Or
I would say this: $10 million an episode. It's okay to do both.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, is it hard to find a relatively good actor who can look decent with white hair? Probably. Yeah. Like, it's like, you have the whole world to look for one.
You also have it's just supposed to be like what, 16? She's supposed to be 16. Mm-hmm. So like, it'd be less than $10 million because like.
That's what I'm saying. But you're a $10 million. You have the resources. You're a huge franchise. You have Netflix behind you. This isn't some small studio that's in Baltimore or Pittsburgh that has $10,000 in their name, and they're like, let's find somebody that's kind of nearby. Like they can't find a teenager that looks the role, but that's neither here because some people might like think she looks great. That's just my opinion.
Well, here's the thing too, though. Like that there's tons of actors out there and actresses, but like it's not like not everybody's an actor and actress. So like you're limited in your pool still. Like you can't just find the best one because like the best one might not be an actor or actress.
What do you mean?
Like you're saying, like an actor or actress will have the try to find one that will look good in white hair.
I'm not saying look good. She just, in my opinion, she just didn't look natural. Because I've seen the actress, like I've seen
Mm.
pictures of the actress, and she's a beautiful actress. Looks the part. Looks like,
Mhm.
But then you give her white hair, and you're like, something off about that.
I mean, I disagree,
That's
but
all. Okay. I
interesting.
mean, that's just me. That's just me.
Judging
Um,
hair colors.
yeah, it just looks off. That's all. It just looks off.
I don't like
When I
UA
first
because of
saw,
hair
when I
color. That's
first
what
saw her, I
that
was
is.
like, it looks like a wig. That's all. Like when I first saw her, I was like, that looks weird. Like you couldn't dye it back.
Matt,
I know the mood saved your life, but you couldn't just dye it back.
everyone Matt does not like UA because of her hair color choice.
No, it has nothing to do with that. No, to be honest, I will say this UA was a better UA than the UA in the show, in the anime.
Like, I actually agree with you by like that much. I'll not by a lot, but by that much.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
agree.
it's also like because Avatar has so much purpose of everything it does. So when UA pops in, you're like, is she that important? But like that's the whole show.
Right.
So it's like she just blends into what the rest of the show is, you know. So like it's like okay, I don't know, like I just
Well, the
it's
important.
work. It's not bad for me. So
Well, we have to wait and see if she actually continues to pull it off in a certain scene. Maybe
hmm
next episode.
yeah. Um. So let's So the Katara scene, we talked about her and Sokka talking, and
Mm.
then the Katara versus Paku scene. How do you like that fight sequence?
Aspects I liked and aspects I didn't like. Like there were I like the discs again. I thought they did it like the when Katara was doing the ice discs.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I thought Haku's bending was weak. Uh I did like how it showed him like water bending like in that surfy style way where he like
Yeah.
corrals and all that. But there are aspects, especially his shards of ice to trap her
Uh-huh.
seemed very fake and
Yeah.
very like forced.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying about the CGI earlier. I'm like, there's certain visuals that look good, but I think all together the show is kind of not doing great when it comes to the CGI. They're bending.
right.
Like and because a lot of the bending has been the dark, either the fire bending looks good, and they've done a good
No,
job.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Firebending looks good, and the airbending doesn't look great, but doesn't look horrible.
Yeah.
It's just Aang, so there's Aang's already a whole mess. So and earthbending they did a pretty good job at doing it at night for the most part.
I
Or
agree. I
maybe in
agree. Yeah.
caves or like dark arenas. This was in the light, and it was water versus water, and the water across the board in the whole show hasn't looked that great, but it's only been like pushing and pulling a boat
Right.
or a small little ball or the ice stuff, which the ice doesn't look horrible.
No.
That scene that you said did, but like when she did the ice before in episode like 3 or 4, it looked okay. But
Yeah.
that fight sequence, the sequence was fine. The CGI was bad.
Yes.
That makes sense. Like their
Hmm.
movements and how they were fighting looked all good. Um, but yeah, the CGI looked bad. And again, it's odd because it's like in the show, he finds the necklace, and then that's what kind of makes him come around to the idea of Katara fighting.
Right.
And I've always envisioned it as like when he saw the necklace, he remembered the love of
Right.
his life leaving, and now he's looking at that same situation in Katara, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to choose to do different because of my entire life I regretted doing what I did. She left me, and now I'm going to do different, And now,
Right.
but they kind of again they set up Grand so much. They go away from that. It's like they talk about Grand to episode 5, and then it's like this could have been their chance to maybe redeem the idea of talking about Grand so much, and then it's like, and again, maybe it will come back, but it doesn't seem like it will, because if it
No.
is, it will be a weird way. Like that would have been a perfect time where he would have picked it up, looked at her, said something,
Right.
and then it's like, okay, cool, you are a warrior. But they kind of gave that role to Aang,
Right.
like the idea of like, I'm coming around to you being a warrior in this fight in this fight, because Aang was not about it, and then he turns into being about it.
Hmm.
That was kind of interesting. We did skip, because I didn't skip it, but I wasn't paying attention. What do you think about the Kuruk scene?
I don't know, because I mean, my only like opinion of him comes from Sozin's Comet, and
Mm-hmm,
so I don't know anything, in the comics.
mm-hmm,
If it's actually portrayed right, I don't know.
mm-hmm,
But from what I see, like it seems like Kirk from Sozin's Comet was more of a reserved avatar. He was like go with the flow, like he says, and
mm-hmm,
like it was like peace and good times, and like he didn't seem to be like an angry person.
mm-hmm.
But from what I do maybe recall, I don't know if it's Korra or I read it somewhere, but how they made him out to be with like him fighting in the spirit world and like him getting injured. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounded like that's true.
Yeah, I think I might be not 100% correct on this, but from what I gathered from the few comics I've read, which I'm going to be reading more, and also the show, um, what I've gathered was that the natural world, our world, was everything was good. So he was
Yeah,
kind of not doing anything. He learned the elements. He did what he needed to do, but he wasn't
yeah,
really doing much. He just settled down and got married. But the
yeah,
spirits were angry,
yeah.
because they were still angry about conflict with Yang Chen. And so they were angry. So Ko took his wife. And then he went into the spirit world to fight the spirits after that happened, which eventually led to his death.
That would be more. I
That
think that would
so
be
that
an interesting show.
so yeah, it would be.
I
And
think.
so it was, and then he talks about that a little bit in the finale about Aang, by him basically saying like, I wasn't doing anything, and then
Right.
and then Ko took my wife, and they went and they referred back to that, which was cool. But that,
Yeah.
I'm okay with the change. It's actually, in my opinion, it's just their way of trying to not make him look like like not a loser, but like a bad Avatar. And if you ask any Avatar fan, they would probably say like, out of all the Avatars we know, he is the worst Avatar. Like he
Right.
was kind of a bad Avatar, because he kind of just like lived his life. Probably didn't master the elements like he was supposed to, because there was just peace.
No, because like the reason why I'm conflicted with how they portrayed him is because like I said in Sozin's Comet, much more reserved,
Mm-hmm.
and he seemed to be like mellow. He seemed to be very introverted,
Mm-hmm.
very like just like stern. I guess
Mm-hmm.
stern is the more right approach. But in a low way, like a low stern.
Mm-hmm.
Where this one, it seems like he like blew up over the littlest thing,
Right.
and so like that's why I didn't know which one is more
I want to
realistic
touch about his
to.
personality. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they haven't. He's one of the avatars they haven't touched on a lot. I agree with you. I think a series would be pretty cool. I will say he talked about not controlling the avatar state, not being able to,
Hmm.
which is interesting. I don't know if they added that or not. To be truly honest, it is interesting how, and I kind of just putting this together, even though I know that the show mentioned it. But it is interesting how they added the temples, like the three temples of the last avatars, and that's where Aang's able to talk to him.
Yeah.
Before it was just Roku at his temple. Um, Interesting. It's kind of odd, because it's like, I guess every time there's a new avatar, you just knock down the old temple and build a new
Ah.
temple. Like, is there not a temple of like, 4 Earthbender avatars prior
Right.
to Kyoshi? Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. Um, sure, the show will never explain it. It's okay.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't necessarily like it, but
it's a plot convenience. They wanted
yeah.
to introduce all 3 avatars.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They wanted to introduce all 3 avatars. That was their way of doing it. The show does it more subtle. The show, introduces Roku in a good way, and then Kyoshi a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then Korok and
You
more
thought
Korok.
it introduced Roku in a good way?
No, the original show. I'm sorry,
Oh,
the
okay.
original show. That's what I'm saying. Like the original show again, a little bit more subtle, a little slower, a little bit more of a. they tease certain things and then they
Mhm.
show it later. Where this show is just like, you know what, Aang's gonna meet all 3 avatars in the first season. And anytime he needs to meet an avatar, he can just go to one of these temples. It's like, okay, cool. Like
Yep.
it seems like it only took him about a week to travel the entire world. So, to be honest, have a quick.
He just got out of the iceberg and now he knows.
Yeah, so another thing that's really interesting is we're the last episode, he doesn't know anything waterbending yet.
Say that one more time.
He doesn't know any waterbending yet.
No, because Padre hasn't really.
Well, but in this show, he learns with Katara with the scrolls.
Right.
He knows by episode 7 or whatever, like
9,
whatever. Like he knows pretty early. He knows before the storm episode.
Mm-hmm.
So he it's a different change. I'm assuming if season 2 starts, there will be a time jump a little bit bigger than the show because they're getting older. So maybe they say it's been 6 months and it'll be the middle of spring and he'll be a waterbender and then they'll start their journey. I don't know. So the last scene was Azula. We're going back to that.
Yes.
Well, they talk a little bit about, I guess, Zuko. He's still alive, obviously. And Zhao talks about how he knows something. I'm assuming they're going to keep the same, but they didn't really. They teased it. They didn't talk about it, so I don't want to assume that they're going to change something. They will.
Yeah.
But we'll just skip that because it was a quick scene and
yeah,
didn't really add too much. But yeah, so Azula, the Azula scene. How did you like how that played out with her father going against her, and then the lightning bending?
I thought it was, for what it was, good. I thought the lightning looked good at first, and then when she released it, I was like, "What is this, static shock?" I didn't think it was all that powerful. Like I thought it was weaker than what it should have been. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, it seemed like that was maybe the first time she ever did it.
Yeah, which I'm
I will say, like in the show, I never looked at it that way. I was always like, when she was practicing on the boat in season 2, episode 1, I was always like, she's mastered her. She's already mastered lightning bending
easily.
She's been a lightning bender for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, although I didn't like this episode that much, I will say when I saw her lightning bending, I got pumped.
I knew you were. I knew you would.
Good too, and I was like, okay. I already kind of like Azula in this show more than the average person.
Yeah.
And the lightning bending looks good, and the moment was good. I was about that. I was about that.
I had a feeling you'd like that scene.
Yeah. Okay, well, we talked about basically everything. It's going to be, this is, again, kind of another part 1 of a part 2 episode. There's been a couple of those now.
Yep, but we're on the finale.
But this is the finale. So where out of 5, where are you ranking this one? Again, 5 being amazing, 4 being good, 3 being meh, but a positive score, 2 being bad, 1 being horrible, and anything under 1 is like a straight up offensive.
For whatever reason, I don't know like maybe it's because, like I said, the episode flowed better for me this time. Right. Probably 2.25.
Okay. I have to say, I don't know why. It's hard to explain. Probably not a good thing to have it on podcast, but it's hard it's hard to explain why. But like, there's just something about this episode that I found really boring. Like, I just found the episode boring. They didn't do. There was just a lot of talking, a little bit of explaining, a little bit of love interest stuff, which I know she's gonna die in the next episode anyway.
Don't ruin it for the fans.
Wouldn't that be crazy if she doesn't die and she just joins the team?
Then she'd be the great character, right, Matt?
but like, so it's like, okay, knowing that, and because I don't really care too much about the conflict with Sokka and the other guy, it's like, okay, well, this is just a normal love interest.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really there's nothing great there. The Korok stuff was just a meh episode. Like I
don't disagree. Yeah, I don't. But it just yeah.
You think it?
We agree in things that went down. It's about, we just disagree on how perception of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like where maybe you thought it was more of a drag, where I thought even though this is dumb, it
flowed
flows.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, like, I was
Not
saying
in terms of
before,
dialogue or anything, but just like time went better.
yeah, even an episode like last episode, an episode you didn't like, and I was like, it was it was an okay episode. I think I even gave it like a relatively good score, like a
Mhm.
3.5, 3.75, because it's like at least it was kind of exciting. Like
Right.
I wasn't, I wouldn't say I was on the edge of my seat, but I was like, I was engaged. I was engaged enough where I was like, okay, they're changing some things around. I just had to get past, like, again, like the bad writing. I was just like, bad writing, but let's just. It's like playing a game, and you're like, the writing in this game is very bad, but the gameplay is pretty good,
Right.
And like for this episode, the writing wasn't horrible, but it was just kind of just all boring stuff. So I would give it a 2.75. I would give it barely above. Like it was barely below meh. 2.75.
I think that's roughly fair.
Yeah, I would say I would say this: if they added a semi-emotional scene where he picks up the necklace, sees the necklace, and that resolved in a positive way, I probably would have went to a 3. But the fact that they took that out is like, okay, maybe she'll just prove herself on the battlefield, and then he'll like change his mind. But it's just like it just seems like we're about to go into this battle, and that's not resolved, and it's
Right.
just I don't know. It just that was just kind of weird to me. And if that fight was a little bit better, CGI was a little bit better.
Yeah.
Probably would help too, but
there's no emotion. There's just there's a lack of emotion.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, let us know who's your favorite character so far. Is it Paku? I know he's such a delight. What about Boomy? Was Boomy your favorite character? Did you just love Boomy? Or how about it's probably Lee, to be honest. But yeah,
There's
like
a million Lees.
my favorite character is Lee and that guy that was an asshole to Iroh. Like the two characters that like are not going to continue. You're never going to see them again after this. You're not going to see any of these characters after this because I guarantee the show's not having a season 2.
And you can take that to the bank.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character? Not in the anime, but who's your favorite character so far in the show? Comment below. Let us know.
And if you just put ... we'll know who it is.
If you just put, there's a million of them. We'll know who that is. Well, you know what we need 1 million of?
Subscribers. That's what we need. We need subscribers. We need viewership. This is what we need.
Comment below. All right.
Comment below. Subscribe.
So guys, one more episode of these, and then we could just talk about the anime.
Comment below, subscribe below, and like below.
Someone got to like us. See ya.
Thanks, Tabitha True.